Hello and welcome to Midweek Matters. It is now clear for everyone to see. We are in a vaccine mess. Vaccination is proceeding at a snail's pace. Daily vaccination rate is in a steady decline. Vaccine stocks in the country are insufficient and dwindling. Supplies in the coming weeks and months are highly uncertain. States of our union are scrounging for vaccine doses. They are floating global tenders. Foreign vaccine producers are refusing to deal with them. However, these things are not clear to those who are still in denial, to those who are in the grip of devotion, and to those who are still under the spell of demagogy and continue to be mesmerized by egocrats. Advocates of positivity who can see it want to sweep this reality under the carpet and pretend that all is well. But you see, covering up the problem to show positivity is no substitute to overcoming the challenge. Today, I want to talk about the nature and extent of this vaccine mess. Before we start talking about the details, let me bring a few facts to the foreground. We are the fifth largest economy in the world. Our declared ambition is to become a $5 trillion economy. That means to overtake the German economy and become equivalent to the Japanese economy in its present size. Our superpower ambitions are no secret, and we are eager to reclaim our status as Vishwaguru. We are the fastest growing economy among the middle income countries. That is, until we began slowing down post the mindless act of demonetization. Vaccination is not new to us. We have a huge bank of past experience of smooth and quiet administration of universal immunization programs. Now, let us see where we are now. There are 184,830 officially reported daily active infections. 2,69,36,641 cumulative infections. On Monday alone, there were 3,224 deaths and 3,06,977 total deaths so far. Of course, we all know about the gross underreporting. To me, these numbers mean real people, families of those people, dependents of those people, their spouses, friends, colleagues, not just numbers. In the 24 hours ending at 7 a.m. on Monday, only 9,43,000 doses of vaccine were administered in the country. That is 6,61,000 less number of doses administered in the previous 24 hours. The decline in vaccination continues unabated. When I see this overwhelming mayhem, feel the stench of death around me, and watch the vaccine muddle in dismay, I want to hold accountable whoever is responsible for this tragedy. Even if they are gods, even if they are my own gods, I have no hesitation. All the more if they are my gods, either temporal or celestial. They have to answer, why did you do this to our country? Why did you let us down? Why did you fail us? Why? Let us look at the vaccine mess in detail. To start with, vaccination was opened for healthcare and frontline workers on 16th January this year. Then, on 1st March, for persons of 60 plus years and for people between 45 and 59 years with comorbidities. Then, from 1st April, it is opened for people from age 45 years and above. And now, from 1st May, it's open for everyone from age 18 years. Let us see the progress of vaccination. COVID dashboard tells us that there are 41,951 vaccination centers in operation in the country. Of them, 39,964 are governments and 1,995 are private centers. So far, we are able to give in total slightly over 19 crore jabs. About 11% of our population received one jab and only 3% are fully vaccinated, receiving two jabs. Now let us turn to why the pace of vaccination is slow and the rate is declining. The main reason is that we do not have enough vaccines. We have two producers in our country, Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech. Their production capacities are 7 crore doses and 5.8 crore doses per month, respectively. Serum Institute is a contract producer for AstraZeneca and its entire capacity is not available to India. However, the orders placed with them by us so far are only 26 crore doses with Serum Institute and 5 crore doses with Bharat Biotech. Of the 26 crore doses, Serum Institute has already supplied 15 crore doses. One is at a loss to understand why the union government has placed such a small order with the manufacturers when it knew that the requirement was huge. And when Pfizer wanted to come to India in the beginning of the year, why it didn't let it in? Our requirement is at least 180 crore doses, give or take a few thousand doses, for two jabs if we have to vaccinate 80% of the target population. This excludes pregnant women and children under 18 years age. What we ordered and what could be available to us in the next few months is woefully inadequate. If we are to depend only on these manufacturers, we will not be able to complete our vaccination program this year. Another 4 manufacturers are in the process of developing vaccines as reported in the ICMR portal. But the outcomes of their efforts are uncertain as of now. There are other vaccine producers, Russia's Sputnik vaccine. Dr. Reddy's have imported just 1.5 lakh doses and are likely to increase their imports and subsequently produce it here in India. The Chinese vaccine may not find favor in India for various reasons. So let's take that out from our list. Then we have the Western producers. AstraZeneca anyway is being produced in India by Serum Institute. That leaves us with Pfizer, Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. Many countries have paid advances to these companies or invested in their efforts to develop the vaccines as at-risk investments. Therefore, their order books are now full. Even if they want to ramp up their production, it can't be done at short notice. The essential elements that go into the making of vaccine depend on a long and complex supply chain involving at least 19 countries. Therefore, availability of their supplies to us is extremely unlikely even in the medium term. On 16th January, when we opened the vaccination program, the government didn't think of ensuring supplies by paying advance. On 1st March, when it opened for 60 plus, it did not pay advance to firm up orders. And on April 1st, when it opened for 45 plus, it still failed to assess the requirement and ensure the supply. And only on 19th April, just a fortnight before opening it up for everyone above 18 years, it came round to releasing money to the Indian manufacturers. This is the supply side of the vaccine mess. Now, let us turn to the demand side of the mess. CoWIN, the central government portal and app, are the gateways to vaccination. You log into them, register in either of them. They will allot a slot to you, send you an alert about your appointment, and after the vaccination is done, generate a certificate with our Prime Minister's picture on it. The app crashed several times initially. It sent SMS alerts to wrong people. It mixed up names. People who got vaccinated kept on getting messages in others' names. People to whom the messages were intended probably missed their slots. This is awkward news from a software giant like India. App and portal based registration tended to exclude those without smartphones and net connectivity. It made them dependent on the generosity of third parties. Poor, marginal, illiterate, and rural people faced hardship in accessing the vaccination as a result. Tech savvy urban people took advantage of this. While the urban slots were full, they booked slots in the sparsely booked rural centers. Suddenly, vaccination centers in small villages around metros saw urban crowd queuing up outside them. There is a digital divide, and there is a rural urban divide, and there is a rich poor divide in accessing vaccine as a result. Even after 4 months of launching, the registrations on the app or portal are only about 23.5 crores. That is a point not to be missed. Apologists talk about vaccine hesitancy. Insensitivity of tech-savvy mandarins to poor, rural, and digitally ill-equipped people is the main reason for vaccine hesitancy. And the premature celebration of victory over COVID played no less a role. Many thought there was no need if we had already chased corona out of our country. In addition, open endorsement of several quack remedies by our union ministers added to complacency. There is another aspect to the mess. That is, the union government's moral paralysis and abdication of its responsibility to vaccinate the nation and leaving the states to fend for themselves. And at the same time, not really helping them do their job. Let me explain what I mean. 50% of all the vaccines produced in the country will be taken by the central government at the rate of 150 rupees per dose. The manufacturers are free to sell the rest 50% to the state governments and private hospitals. While center gets both Covishield and Covaxin for 150 rupees a dose, states have to cough up 300 rupees for Covishield and 400 rupees for Covaxin. Private hospitals will have to buy Covishield for 600 rupees and Covaxin for 1200 rupees. These prices for state governments are decided unilaterally by the companies. They initially announced higher prices but moderated after an uproar. This price structure clearly incentivizes the companies to sell where they can earn more profit to private hospitals and corporates. Thus, the central government allowed vaccine to be a product of seller's market. It's no longer a national public good. I'm still not able to figure out how is it morally defensible that the union government pays a lower price and a state government pays a higher price for the same dose of vaccine. And why should it be 4 to 8 times higher if you go to a private medical facility for the same vaccine? Every country worth its salt has made vaccine available free of cost to all its citizens. This is not the end of the story. It's the central government which decides the slots for the jabs to be administered by the states and paid for by the states. And the certificates are given by central government for the jabs administered by the states and paid for by the states, and paid for at much higher price than paid by the center. Again, that's not the end of the story. As of now, there is no clear formula on which state gets how many doses from the manufacturers. It is another terrible mess. State competing against another state. A dog eat dog world. Let me bring it all together. Center pays less for a dose. States pay more for a dose. Center allots the slots for people to be vaccinated. Doses are administered by states, paid for by the states. Certificate is issued by the center with the PM's picture on it. No clear guidelines on the quantity of states' procurement from Indian manufacturers. Center will only take care of 45 years and above category of people, as well as healthcare and frontline workers. States are responsible for people in the age group of 18 years and above. As a result, states are scrounging for vaccines. They have no supplies. Their global tenders are going nowhere. Moderna has refused to deal with Punjab. It's reported that Pfizer and Moderna said they did not want to sell to Delhi government. If they refuse to deal with Delhi and Punjab, they are unlikely to entertain any other state government. These companies want to deal only with the central government, but the center has washed off its hands. This further complicates the mess. Differential pricing for center and states is an example of moral paralysis of our union government. Dark-hearted abdication by center of the responsibility of vaccinating every citizen is moral paralysis. If the center tightly controls the already scarce supply, says it leaves the states to buy it and reach the vaccine to their people, and center allots the slots to people for vaccination via COVID, and puts the Prime Minister's picture on the vaccination certificate, it is an example of untrammeled egocracy. States are already in financial distress. Almost all of them have pledged to give vaccination free of cost to their people. Should they be penalized for it by forcing them to cough up higher prices per dose? Is this just? Is this morally defensible? When every major national government in the world gave investment support to companies to develop vaccines, took risk, advanced monies, ours slept at the wheel, and when awake, got busy celebrating victory over COVID. Our political leadership encouraged electoral and religious super spreader events. Not until 19th of April did the center provide risk funding to the Indian manufacturers. That's about 4 weeks ago. While most European and North American governments started pumping in advances to vaccine manufacturers, by the middle of last year, even before their trials were successful, our government was complacent, navel gazing. Is this the way the 5th largest economy in the world handles its vaccination? Is this the mark of foresight of a would-be Vishwaguru? Doesn't it shine an unflattering light on us to disregard decades of experience in administering vaccines? Is this the way the government of a country with superpower ambitions conducts itself? Is this the way the government which wants to make us a $5 trillion economy heartlessly abandons its people? Can the country afford the government's moral paralysis? Can the country thrive under an egocracy like this? Isn't it deeply troubling? As I watch this muddle in disbelief, I'll stop here today. We'll be back again next week, Wednesday at lunchtime, 1 o'clock. Take good care of yourselves and all your loved ones. Until then, bye.